On the other side of the planet, in the rainforests of South America, lives an animal whose power was always associated with the fears and desires of all the civilizations that came into contact with it. And it continues to be the king, the largest feline in the Western Hemisphere, the jaguar. The word jaguar comes from the Amazon, where the Guarani Indians spoke of the Jaguar, the beast that kills with one leap. The jaguar certainly has all the right ingredients to impress man. It is a solitary creature that prowls around at dawn or dusk. It hides in the thicket and kills with a swift bite, piercing the neck or the skull, instead of strangling its prey like the majority of felines. It is the third largest feline in the world, surpassed only by tigers and lions. The males reach 140 kilos in weight and are draped in shadows. Already 3,200 years ago, the Olmecas spoke of the Jaguar men, the Mayas believed they stood guard over the tombs at night, and the Aztecs had a warrior elite called the Jaguar Knights. Today, the great cat does not occupy as much territory as in the past. When it lived alongside the pre-Inca cultures in Peru, there were jaguars in the deserts and in the mountains, as well as in the jungles. But the traces of the legend remain. In the symbolic art of the archaeological sites, it still smells of fresh blood. The Mochica people in Peru around 2,200 years ago forged an enigmatic culture in which the jaguar was an important divinity. Everywhere the cruel face of the great cat shows it as a strange deity, the symbol of power. The feline figures appear typically in scenes of sacrifice and torture, such as the so-called decapitator, a sinister figure of the Moche iconography related to the jaguar. In the tomb of the Lord of Zipan, the most important archaeological site so far discovered, disturbing figures were found, such as that of a jaguar copulating with a woman, perhaps another version of the creation myth. Or menacing feline heads of golden metal with teeth of red shell. The great jaguar still lives on. Many of these finds are still being investigated, but the strange feline deity repeatedly appears in diverse objects from different periods, demonstrating that it was much more important for these people than the cult of the sun later imposed by the Incas. The stone, now worn away, had the form of a jaguar, and below it human sacrifices were performed in honor of the amber-eyed demon. But in some places in Africa, another nightmare remains alive at the beginning of the 21st century. This man is a leopard hunter. He wears the fangs of those he has killed as a warning because his people still fear the silent death. In the villages of the Ivory Coast each year, several people die devoured by the great cat. The relation of many African peoples with the leopards is a strange mixture of hatred and worship, a history which still continues to this very day. Leopard and man kill each other throughout Africa and a considerable part of Asia, as it is the most widespread large cat in the world. It is a solitary animal that hunts in the dark, an efficient opportunist always hidden from sight. There is a vast mythology surrounding the leopard. The name itself, leopard or leopard, comes from the mistaken belief that it was a hybrid of the lion and what they call the panther, an archaic term which confuses the black leopards with felines of other species. The wrongly named black panthers are merely cases of melanism, a simple genetic variation of coloring.